Today I'm going to paint Felmersham Bridge. A few days ago I painted a version of the bridge, but I zoomed in on some little children here and did sort of that shot because I thought just capture the kids enjoying themselves. But it's such a lovely view, I thought I really ought to see if I can capture the bridge and all its beauty. The issue, of course, is to try and vary those greens, not to have, I've got to make them vary, otherwise it's just too much green. So we've got some nice spring greens here. So I get some lemon yellow and a little blue to do that. I've got all this vegetation in here, the green of the river there, and that sort of different green, olivey green. Light is coming from the right, so you can see here on these trees I've got a light side and a dark side, so let's make sure I get something like that. So let's get going right away. So the first thing to do is start with a nice wash for the sky. So it was a lovely sunny day. Though in my picture it doesn't look particularly blue, a little bit hazy there. But I think I'll use a bit of artistic license and put in a little brighter, little bluer sky. I think it might help the composition. So I'll just clean my palette a little bit so I don't have it too muddy. I think I'm going to go with some cerulean blue rather than ultramarine, just for a change. I might mix a little cobalt with it as well. I'm not going to do it wet on wet. I'm going to put the blue straight on and perhaps leave a few gaps for our clouds. So let's have a little crack at this. Keeping it fairly loose. I've got to remember it will dry a lot lighter. So let's go with that. A little bit of water just to sweep it in a little bit. Some fluffy clouds. My trees are all going to be here, so that will be no problem with that. It's going to be darker, so let's leave it at that. Go and suggest them, so scudding across the sky like that. Let's leave it at that. And all in here we've got a mass of green, so I'm going to go with a simple wash initially, a very light green, a bit of sap green, make a little puddle up if I can. And then as I let it dry at parts before I add darker greens to keep it vibrant and not boring. So some definition for some of the vegetation. But I think I'm going to put, this is a little bit darker green in here for our first wash. I think I should just go with that. masses of green, all different colours. Let's put a little bit of hookers. To vary it. Right. Let's leave it with that for the moment. That will give us a little starting point anyway. And I wonder if this is dry now. This is a little drier. I think I should give that a little first wash anyway. It's a good idea, watercolour, to do them in layers. 1, 2 or 3. Get your mid-tones, your light tones and your darkest darks. But it's all a question of timing. And at what point do you do it? Let me think, is that going to bleed on it? Bleed into my sky? I've got it tilted, so gravity's helping it run down this way. Actually up in here I've got some leaves will be coming in here. I'll put them in a bit later. This is a mass of green here. Let's get put a bit of ochre with my green here and give me a little bit lighter. So a bit yellowy, a bit warmer. I'm using a flat brush here. You could use a sort of squirrel quill pen, which I might do, but it's good to experiment sometimes and see, just using the edge of my brush there, I can create some shape. A little bit of darker, so get a little bit of ultramarine with my hookers and a little bit of yellow ochre. Can give me something there, a little different. Right, I think I'll drop a little bit of green here, masses of different riverbank colours and greens here. It's a little wet here, it bleeds a little bit. Give me a little bit of variety. I think I should get a smaller brush. I'm going to go with this one here, which is number 12 round. This is Daleroni Aquafine brush. good all round brush. Put little browns in them. Right, let's get a little bit of ochre, ultramarine. See, we get a darker green. Yes, just a little bit bluey. So drop a little bit of brown to neutralize it a little bit. Some dark here on this riverbank. Lots of reeds. Use a little bit of the edge of the brush like this to give you some form. A little bit moist there. Put some yellows in. Let's leave that for the moment. And then with a drier brush, thicker paint, I can put some more definition for the trees. But let's get some thing of these greens going here. Try and put some different colours in here. A bit raw sienna there. Just flick in different to try and get some texture. Now I think I need to get some of that watercolour in. So that is definitely a kind of dark sappy green. I'm going to put a bit of ultramarine with it. Going to keep the children with their rubber rings in the picture. We'll try and get them in a bit later. Finish with that. Right. I'm going to put some bluey reeds in here in the middle ground in a little while. Let's have a go with that. Get some darker colour in now for those arches. There's 4 arches in this bridge. You got all the shade in there, so I'll define that a little bit as we go. That's it. It was dark in here. Right. And let's try and smooth that. Of course, we've got lighter green because we're getting the sunlight is coming from right to left, so you can see green on the other bank out there, a little bit of light there. Get some light coming down here as well. There was light on the, hold on, get some lighter green in parts. I think I perhaps have to wait a little bit. Right, so it's playing on this wall here. Let's have a look at my reference. Yes, I'm squinting my eyes now. I'm definitely got to get darker in my trees in parts of them. Let's get something in that mid-ground though. let's get something slightly different. Let's make a picture go on. Right, where is it? Yes, let's get some of the purpley reeds, bluey purpley reeds enough. Yes, that will help. Got a little squirrel brush paintbrush here. Massive reeds coming into this area. So let's try and catch those. Slightly bluer maybe. They were out here as well. And let's see if we can do that. Bank of them, and then they become a little bit lighter in places. I've got some here. So I've got to try and capture those. Banks of them here. Sort of thin, reedy sort of structures. Need a slight. Let's go with a rigger. You've got some. That's it. That'll do it. A little bit blue. Let's dull it down a little bit. That's better. And in here, got some quite bright green. See if we can get some of those in. Some more water here. Yes, that's a little better. Nice lot of reeds here. And here. Gotta make sure they're grounded there, not floating in the water. Some yellower ones here. Let's see if we can introduce some brighter green there and a bit of lemon yellow parts and a lot of very bright vegetation here, bright greens. As I said, the sunshine is coming in this direction here. Right, let's give some of those darker reeds in. So I'm using some Hooker's green along with this blue mix I have, and see if we can get something in this foreground here. Definitely a lot of weeds and reeds here. Some is quite dark in here. Make sure I've got some of that. Bit of Payne's grey. Just mix a bit of blue, bit of green with that. Again, we've got to get lots of contrast in. Right. We need to beef up these, give some more density to the reed bank here. A massive colour here, largely a muted greens and browns. Right, how's it coming along? I think I need a different green here. Give it some gentle wash. Give our background a little bit there. And as it's drier, I can put some thicker paint over that and define some individual plants if I wish there. Now I think let's try and keep the shape of the bridge. Just line that in there. Right, let's put something in for the bridge. See if we can give it some tone. What should we do? Little brown, little umber. Yes, we could perhaps wash that in. There. Just left a little smidge of white on the top there. There are some stones along the top of the bridge, or edge, that capture the light a little bit, so try and do that. Right. Okay. I should hint at the bridge and the darker there. Got to fix it. Right. Now, how are we doing? Perhaps I still need to do a few more dark greens in here with this brush. Give it a bit of body in here. Yes, I think so. Got too much light here in our foreground. I need to suggest that. Still got to make these arches read. Deep, deep shadows under there. And this one, got to correct that arch, it's not quite right. This can be a little higher. We can deal with that. But the other one, is has to be the similar shape. Still showing the arch. But as I do the detail on the bridge, on the stonework, I can define the arch a bit better. There's shadow, darker colours. Reflecting out here. Right, let's think about this for a moment. Let's go back to a thinner brush and see if we can define some more vegetation a little bit more specifically. Let's get a bit darker than that. Let's get a bit of umber going. Get some of the twigs and things going. Yes, I think that's what we need to do here. And these blue reeds, they've got some colourful heads on them, on some of their leaves. I suppose they're the flowers starting to show. So let's do that. Get a bit more umber, dark, so we can bring some leaves and branches into our picture to help frame it a little bit better here. Lots of forms coming here. Right. Actually, let's get at some different yellowy green. See if we can get something more spring green. So I'm going to use a little bit of lemon yellow. And I've got some leaves coming out here. That's a little bit too bright, I think. Need to tone that down a little bit. Right, that'll help, I think. Suggest some forms of leaf. Just to get into our picture, there's some here actually as well, coming well into our picture. So let's see if we can suggest some of that. So I'm just using my rigger brush at the moment just to create a little bit more interest. Some brighter greens. Suggest all these reeds. I want to put in some cow parsley actually, if I can. Right in the middle here, we'll use some gouache to do that. Some thicker, opaque watercolour. It's useful when you want to really step up the brightness of something. Got a bit of raw sienna here. I need to get something going down here. Create some interest. I'm looking at my reference now, and there's lots of very quite thin twigs and branches coming down here. So let's see if I can introduce some of that. A darker colour maybe. Yes, that will help. Now let's do something with the bridge. I need a little blue, a little Payne's grey to sweep in a little stain that comes across here. Well, let's get that in first. I want to tidy up on the arches. Let's get that in for the moment. Right. I think that will do. A bit darker out here actually. I've got to make sure we've got that. Actually, I think there's a house out here which I wanted to put a little glimpse of the roof in. So we'll go with that. It's largely obscured by the trees and vegetation, but we'll suggest it with that. Right. Let's tighten up a bit on my arches. Right. this one. As I said, this will dry a lot lighter. So it looks a bit dark there now. But I think it will die back a little bit. Dry lighter. The shadows are important in watercolour. They can add a lot to the subject because it reads a bit better. Right. Now, there are darks out here. Lots of trees. We need to get that darker. Right. Now, there are, let's get a different brush. I think I need something with a, it's a little bit more control of this one. And let's get some light green in though. That is far too dark. That's what I'm after, this. Got some here. I'll mix some different greens, but I can add a little bit of brown to them to sort of tone them down a little bit, which you need to do. Try and show these. I'm keeping those in the background, a little fainter, a little less green, because I want to push them back a little bit to give some sense of distance. So, I think we're getting there slowly. So I think I'll perhaps leave those the trees a little bit for the moment, because I don't want to muddy them. I want to keep it interesting and a little bit of different colour here. I think we can go with that. There's got a bit of ochre here. Scratch some of the make some of the finer branches. You can sometimes do that. Let's put something a little pine shape. If we don't have many of this form. Right, there's right. Now let's think, should I put some more of darker green? I think in here, still a little bit here, certainly there. These lovely reeds. Let's get a nice brightish green for them. So I'm using a bit of lemon yellow now with one of my greens, so that will give them a little bit in here. Let's get something there. Right. You see, we've got to get our children on the boat, of course. I was going to give them a bit of a picture there. They were having some fun. Right, let's see if we could suggest some of the main boughs there, a trunk or two poking through, and some of them perhaps. Yes, I think a little bit of dry brush suggest some of these trees in the background there. Yes, that's a little bit of suggestion there. Where darker bits where the light doesn't get through. So try and capture some of that. But let's get a nice red in for one of these little inflatables that these children had. So a little, tiny little bit of red in landscape can sometimes do it, but you've got to be careful not to overdo it. Right, that's one, number one. And the other one was a very kind of lurid green actually. So I wonder if I can do that. I think a bit of iridium, I think. Yes, that might do it. Let's brighten it up a little bit more yellow. Yes, maybe we can get away with that. There. Perhaps need to lighten it up. Let's leave that for the moment. And as I said, I want to get some cow parsley in. How should I do that? We could do, there are some mainly white, but there's little yellow bits as well. Yellow bits here. Different plants. Let's go with that. Let's think. Yes, I've certainly got that house in there. Just check my reference, it's in there somewhere. Let's get some gouache in and get some white to show a little parsley, a few highlights. Can do that. Right. Where am I going to put them? I think they were pretty much in the middle of my picture, so as good a place as any. Although, setting off against this darker green, it might work, but anyway, let's see how we can go. Let's put a few here. Yes. Yes, that's it. And we had some here. I want to drop a little bit of yellow into some of them. Don't want them all glaring white. Were stalks are white as well. I could add a little bit of white to some of these stones where it's capturing the light. These keystones or arches there. As I said, there's a little bit of light on the top of the wall. I tried to save it there, but let's introduce it there. So let's put a little bit of yellow in some of them, a little bit of ochre in some. Right. We could, let's have a few more here. shall we leave it at that? I probably will put, when it's a little drier, I'll try and put the figures in, but let's just drop a little white in now, and then I can put other colours to suggest them. Catch some light on the top of that there. Some of our little bluey reeds. Oh, I've got a little bit of red on my thing there, but I'll define them a little bit. All sorts of reeds and colours there, and vegetation, so why not? Actually, this might be useful colour to add to some of those reeds. Got this lovely colour on the top of them. There was some here. Right. Well, I think we're getting nearer the end now. So you've got this age-old problem. When do you stop? Usually it's a good idea to stop when you think, when you're saying, oh, what should I do now? What should I put in? But you can do some fine adjustment the following day, sometimes when you've had a little break from it. So I think I'm going to just put a little more definition of some of these leaves. I can get a wetter mix going. Some of these leaves right. I think one last thing I could do is, could I put a few of the limbs of the distant trees, or even this left foreground one? I think I could give something more interest. So I'm going to get a little brown here. Darken it up a little bit there. Nice. What about that? Yes, that might be it. I said there was some here too. I think that's too brown. That's something dark there. Wouldn't read brown from where we are. So I think we could leave it at that for the moment. I can always, as I say, come back and add some finer details. As I said, I'll put the figures in tomorrow, I think. It's really good and dry, so I can help suggest them anyway. But before I do that, I'm going to put a bit of sparkle on the water. There was a little bit. So there was some sun there, but I think I'm just going to suggest this. To make it read a little better there, so I think that will go. And the last thing I need to do is take off my masking tape for the reveal. I often forget to do this, and then I finish filming and then I have to go back and show you a little bit more. So I've remembered today. I'll just strip that off.